I don't think I have ever felt so horrific in my entire life. I'm just waiting for Neil to come home to pick me up and take me to the hospital. So I thought I would sit down and just document this. 33 plus 2, and I contracted a sickness bug last night. I don't know where it came from. I haven't seen anyone that's been sick. There isn't a bout of it at P's school, nothing. And went to work, came home. I felt a little bit queasy, didn't think anything of it. I think I had a cup of tea and then like had a shower, washed my hair, of course I did. Always wash my hair before I have a sickness bug. I got into bed and I was drying my hair and I thought, oh, I feel a bit, don't feel right, feel a bit queasy. Didn't know whether I had a tummy ache and like just needed a poo. So I went to the toilet and nothing. Then I remember I went to sleep. This must have been about 11:15 maybe. And I woke up, must have been about 11:30, with that bile feeling. And oh god, I feel so ill. And if you've watched my videos, you'll know I have a massive fear of sick. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I have a really bad fear. And I was in the toilet, in the bathroom, with my eyes shut, because if I look at the toilet it's going to make me go. And I kept swallowing and swallowing and swallowing and swallowing and swallowing, and it went. So I was like, right, okay, I've curved it, I've done it. Went back to bed. Within 20 minutes, obviously I can't run. I mean, I'm getting bigger, the gaps between furniture are getting smaller, and I didn't make it in time. I vomed outside the bathroom door, I vomed a couple steps further, and then around the toilet, and it went all up the wall. This must have been about 12, half 12. And then I have been vomiting / projectile vomiting from that point multiple times an hour, every hour, and it is currently 1:20 on Saturday, the 25th. I have the runs. I cannot keep anything down at all. It got to 7 o'clock and I'd been obviously sick throughout the night, and it got to the point where I was just retching and being sick and nothing coming up because I've got nothing left. Why did I have a salad and jacket potato? Yeah, salad and jacket potato for my dinner last night. It's not a nice thing to bring up, I'm not going to lie to you. Looking back on it, the way we had to clean up my sick was a squeegee from the shower and a dustpan and brush. So 7 o'clock, P was up at 6, and I was like, don't come near me, like just stay away. I got Neil to call Medicom. Medicom called me back and said to go in to like get assessed. They then called me back within 20 minutes and said, actually, can you wait a couple of hours and just try some lemonade, see how you get on. I was like, okay, that's fine. I really couldn't be fucked to get dressed, so I was like, yep, that's fine. I've been walking around my house naked the entire time. Like, I literally just can't deal with clothes. Because when I'm about to be sick, my whole body has like this cold sweat, and that's when I know I'm about to go like properly. This is so grim. So I've been vegging on the sofa. Mum came here at 9:30. And I've just been in, like, it sounds dramatic, but just in like a comatose state since then. Or this whole time. My whole body is numb. My hands are so tingly. So Neil then told me to get into bed at 10 o'clock. Got into bed and was sick. Hospital called me back. There was a welfare check at like 11:15, and they were like, what's the situ? And I said, I haven't been sick for an hour or so, so it's quite good progress for me. Now, like, okay, and I said, I feel so thirsty, like I just want to drink and I can't. So she told me to increase my water for the next 45 minutes. If I'm not sick, continue that. If I am, just let them know, and they want me in. So I had 200 ml, I measured it, drinking that, and within 20 minutes I vomited it all back up again. And that was, I think that was just water, I can't remember, because they told me to drink lemonade as well. So I called them back and they want me in for like an IV, and I feel horrific. I'm exhausted from being up all night, not getting any sleep, being terrified of sick. My body's adrenaline has been fluctuating like this. Movements are fine. I don't know if you can see the state of my face. I've burst capillaries all over my face because I've been retching and being sick so badly. I've packed a bag because Mum said that they might keep me in for 12 hours. My mum used to be a nurse. My tongue is so dry. I've also now got potential water infection because I don't know if I said I got the runs as well, but because I can't keep any fluids, I've got nothing to wee. The only good thing is that both my movements are fine. So just thought I'd check in and just document this because I feel so rough, and I don't think I've ever suffered dehydration like this before. I feel weak. Walking around the house, like just trying to get ready, I feel like I'm going to collapse on the floor. So Neil's now on his way home to take me in, and I'm terrified. I'm so scared of, I know it's the best place, but like having a cannula and another blood test potentially, and being kept in and not being in my home comforts, like I'm so scared. But I know I need to do it. So that's my update for you. I just wanted to keep it as real as possible. I feel rank. I literally look like Voldemort. I look so unwell. I didn't think I actually looked that bad. So I'm back with an update after everything that has gone on these past Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 5 days. I honestly don't even know where to start. So clearly I've been through it. Today is Wednesday the 29th of January, and I don't even know, I haven't obviously edited anything. I don't know what I would have said prior to this clip. I remember sitting down filming here, couldn't tell you what I said, but it was before I went into hospital. I went to hospital, we got there about 2 on Saturday, and went to delivery suite and like waited for a room. We didn't wait long, like 15-20 minutes I think. Everything is a bit hazy, a bit blurry. You can just see by my appearance how drained and tired I am but I'm not going to sit here and feel like I have to put makeup on to make it look like that I'm okay, because I'm not. I'm fine, but it's just been really shit. So went to the hospital, went to delivery suite, went into a room and had 2 midwives come in. They sat me on the bed. It's so hazy, and they hooked me up to the machine where like I've never had it before. I've never been in a situation where I've needed it. Where you have the pink band and the blue band, and there's like the heartbeat monitor for the baby. I fucking hate that machine. So they were like, anything from 10 to 30 minutes. I was on it for like 4 hours because one of the midwives didn't really know what she was doing, because she was a community, because there wasn't as much staff as normal. So it was a community midwife who didn't really have experience in using the machines. And they kept like losing, I can't even remember what they said, but it wouldn't like do a complete cycle, so the machine wasn't happy. So I was very uncomfortable, sat in like pretty much the same position for a very long period of time, because they kept like losing the connection or whatever it was. So that happened. But regardless, I was hooked up to the machine. I think they just asked me loads of questions. I honestly can't remember. Like, I cannot remember anything. I just remember being so spaced out, and like I remember talking to the midwife, but I haven't got a clue what I said. But one thing I do remember is that they were like talking to me, like asking me like how I'm feeling, how I'm feeling and stuff, and I just said, I feel like I'm in a bubble. Like, I feel like everything's really cloudy and really hazy, and I'm so thirsty, but I cannot keep any fluid down. So then they got the doctor in. I think she was a doctor, maybe a consultant, I'm not too sure. At one point I had like 4 people in the room, obviously having different like expertise and stuff. And they were like, right, okay, let's put you on some fluids, give you anti-sickness, blah blah blah. So I was like, okay, fine. They did the cannula, which was a horrific experience. The doctor got quite annoyed with the community midwife because she didn't know what to do, and I'm not the type of person that likes needles, like you all know. Who does? But I'm not very good with them. And I remember the doctor was like putting the cannula in, which was, it was worse than a blood test. I've only had one before when I broke my arm. And I remember her being like, just fix it. Like, the doctor was like, just fix it on her arm. And the midwife was like, I don't know how to do it. And I was just like, oh, I can't look. And then Neil, like, I turned to look at Neil. Luckily they gave me some ice to crunch. So I was eating ice, just with my eyes closed like this, whilst they were putting the cannula in my arm. And I looked at Neil and he was like this. So I was like, oh, this is not great. And it really stung. And then like they kept like wiggling the tube in my vein, and then she was like, I'm just cleaning you up. And I was like, why are you cleaning me up? Like, what's going on? And I looked and there was just like blood everywhere. I think she said the word, I want to say it's a tachycardic or something. I don't know what that means. I don't know if my veins were quite weak because I was so dehydrated. I don't know. They did that, and then the heartbeat of the baby went quite high. And I think it maxed at 178, and normally it's like 130 to 140. So they wanted to get the fluids in me quite quickly because obviously I was getting worse and dehydrated. I still hadn't vomited whilst I was at the hospital, which was a sign, I guess. So they brought these like litre bags of like IV fluids, and they wanted the first bag to go in quite quickly. So I had that. I want to say I had something called electrolytes. I don't know, I could be making it up. but I had two things in my cannula. I felt like a wind chime. I had like the cannula in my arm and then like 3 little dangly tubes so they could attach stuff to me. So I had two things going in at once. They gave me an anti-sickness jab in my thigh, which was really painful. And then they just sort of left me to it whilst the fluids were going in. I think they got the first bag in me within 2 hours, and the bag ranges from 2 to 4. They did the second bag after the first. They wanted me straight onto the second, and they, I think, I can't remember. I want to say I got my first bag at 4, so maybe my second bag was done by like 7:30. Yeah, I think that's about right. And during this time, like, Neil's been there the whole time. He went and got himself some food. Like, I was in and out. I say I was in and out of consciousness. I wasn't. I was in and out of sleep. I was in such like a weird, like, dozy state of mind. Like, it was just horrible. I was eventually allowed off the machine, and when they did that, I was able to like twist, because when you're hooked up onto the machine, they try and tell you not to move, because you moving could then move the baby, and then you could then affect the result. So I got a really sore back because of being stuck in the position for such a long period of time. But then I was able to move. I had my cannula in and I sort of like rolled over to the side and sort of dozed on and off for maybe a couple of hours. I can't really remember. Then they did the midwife swap at about, I want to say it was like 7, half 7. Had a really nice new midwife, really liked her. She was very like, she was young, but she was straight to the point, and like you knew where you stood, sort of thing. She was lovely. Nothing against the other midwives. I couldn't really remember them, if I'm perfectly honest. She wanted me to have a 3rd bag of IV fluids, so it was a 3rd litre. And during this time as well, like, I was able to, once I was hooked up onto like the drip and stuff, I was able to go for a wee, and they had to, since I went into hospital, they measured every single wee that I had to check for ketones. Turned out that I had contracted a UTI, like a water infection, because I was so severely dehydrated. And again, that's why the baby's heart rate went up, because I was so dehydrated. So every time I went for a wee, I had to like catch it in like one of those little brown things, and then let them know, and then they could go and dipstick it and check it for ketones. So she came in and was like, look, you've still got 3+ ketones in your wee, which is really high. I think they said it's the highest, or there's one higher, but it's not great. So they wanted me to have a 3rd bag. Had a 3rd bag, and at this point it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock. She was like, it should be done within like 2 to 3 hours, and then hopefully we can let you go home. So we were like, right, okay, that's fine. Neil was obviously going to stay with me, so he did. We started watching something on his phone, but we were both so exhausted from the night before that we both started falling asleep. So he was like, I'm going to turn this off and have a sleep. So I was like, that's fine, so am I. So he like got the 2 chairs and it made himself a little bed, and I tried to sleep as well. And then doctor came in, finished my IV fluids by, I think it was maybe about 11, yeah, about 11ish. Checked my wee. Had to wait a little while because I think the doctors were coming around. And then at 11:30, 12, she then told me that I've still got 3 ketones, so I have to stay in. And I was like, oh, okay. I felt frustrated because I wanted to go home. I felt bad for Neil because he'd been sat there since 2 o'clock. Obviously he's there to support me, but he could have, like, he was knackered from the night before. He could have gone home at 6 o'clock. Like, he didn't, even though he was there, like, he didn't need to be there, and I didn't feel like I needed him there. Like, I was fine. So, and because I was so like spaced out, like, it was just, I was just frustrated for him. So I remember him going at 23:52. So he went at that time. And actually, on hindsight, looking back, I'm glad that they kept me in, because I didn't feel right, and I felt this horrible feeling in my throat. And I spoke to the midwife and I was like, I feel like I'm getting like acid reflux. I hadn't been sick for maybe like 10 hours. But I remember feeling really full, and I don't know if this is because of all the IV fluids and stuff, but I just felt just full. And she was like, maybe you need like some toast. I've been nibbling biscuits. I say biscuits, I had like 1.5 and they were awful, because I just didn't want to eat because I felt so full from the IV fluids. But she was like, try some toast. So she gave me anti-sickness in my cannula again, and then she gave me a tablet to take for like my acid reflux. I had a bite of the corner of my toast, and within a minute I brought everything back up. I brought up so much fluid. I filled like one of those bowl things, and she was like, right, we're gonna go and put you on like onto the wards. And I was like, right, okay. Got to my room at about 1 o'clock in the morning, and because I was originally admitted for like D&V because I did have diarrhea at home. I hadn't had anything at the hospital, but because of that I was classified as like a risk for other patients. So I had my own room, and like whenever people had to come into the room they had to wear like an apron and gloves and all of that. Like it was quite intense. And then they gave me one of these. I don't really want to show too much because of like, oh, I can show you this because it's got none of my information on it. This, so every hour I had to, whenever I wore, it's done hourly, but every time I weed I was given a plastic jug, and I had to wee in a plastic jug, push my button to let a midwife know that I'd done that, and they would get this like printout of information about my ketones. I don't really know if I can show you much. I'll hide this. Here. Can you see that? So there. It's got like information about my ketones and stuff. So I had to do that every single time. I also had to, again, I won't show you my side because my side is like full. I don't know if you can see, but all my side's full, but it's got all my details, whereas this side hasn't got anything on it at all. I had to fill out as well like how many like mils of drink I was having an hour as well. So it was quite intense. I was getting my obs checked all the time. So that was my room on, that would have been Sunday early hours. I then had I had my obs checked and stuff and everything like that. They came round with some toast maybe about 8 o'clock, and I had one piece and I kept it down, which was really good. I hadn't eaten anything in like 40 hours. So I had that, and then the doctors came round, and I think there was 3 or 4. Lovely. There was a really nice man. He reminded me of Dr. Ranj. He had the best smile. He was like, you look really well. I was like, really? Like all my skin, like you can still see I've got some spots here. My whole skin went red and spotty, but like they weren't raised spots, they were all just like within my skin. My eye was bloodshot. I looked like shit. And he was like, you look really well. And I was like, thanks. And he was saying, they also put me on another IV fluid bag as well, I forgot to say. So I was on my 4th litre of fluid. And they were like, right, so this is going to be your last fluid bag. They were like, you're quite small, even though I feel like I'm the size of a house. They were like, you're quite small and petite, and they don't want me to have any more because apparently 4 litres is a lot. I was like, right, okay. So they wanted me to continue drinking orally and trying to eat as and when I can, but obviously to take it easy. And this is the problem that I had, was that I couldn't eat and drink quick to get rid of the ketones, because then I would have vomited. So it was like a really delicate balance that I had to get right. And I also didn't feel like eating anything because I've been drinking constantly. It was just a bloody nightmare. So then that was that. Neil, don't leave my camera alone please. Neil came back at about 11 o'clock. My mum had pee for us, thank the Lord. I honestly don't know how I would have got through these past couple of days without my mum. So then, honestly, bloody cat. Neil came back, my dad came and visited because my grandma's at hospital at the moment as well. And I went to go for a walk when I was allowed off my IV. I wasn't allowed to like go out of the ward for 12 hours clear of vomiting, so I had to wait till after midday, because obviously being at a risk and stuff. Went for a walk. That was really, really hard. I also had to wear green stockings. I have washed them, you can't see them. I had to wear green stockings because of lack of movement, because obviously you're like basically bedbound, and risk of blood clots and stuff. I remember like walking around the hospital to go to the shop because I just thought, if I'm going to eat something, I'd like something quite light, so I wanted pom bears. So we went on a hunt for some pom bears. And I had to sit down like 3 times walking to the shop because I was so out of breath because I hadn't walked for like a couple of days. It was really hard on like my body physically. Did that, went to the shop, came back. I think Neil stayed with me until Mum dropped P off at about 4. So P came to see me at the hospital. And it was just really, it was a really difficult time because at 3 o'clock I did a wee. So my ketones were still at 3 until about 2 o'clock. And they wanted my ketones to be 1 or less. And then I got the news that they went down to 2. And I was like, oh my God, like they said that normally if you get them down to 2, you can turn it around quite quickly. I was like, come on, like I can do this. I can get them down to 1 and I can go home. Then they went back up to 3. So it was the balance again of trying to get them down. So then they were like, look, realistically you're not going to get discharged today. So Neil was like, right, P was really upset and really worried, and she's like, I really miss you, Mummy, I'm really worried about you. So he decided to get my mum to drop her off at the hospital so she could see me and know that I'm okay. And like the whole time I was like, I'm only in here because my wee looks like apple juice. She was like, that's not normal. I was like, no, exactly. I was like, they need to make it look like your wee. I was like, what did your wee look like? She was like water. I was like, well, that's what mummy's wee needs to be like. I was like, baby's fine, blah, blah, blah. So P came up and like with my mum, and they were there for about an hour. And then Neil was like, right, I've got to then, because he had work on Monday, he had to then go home to sort P's school stuff out, to then take her to his mum's. So she got put pillar to post, and this is one thing that I've hated, is that P's just been shipped around wherever she can go, and it just makes me feel really guilty. And when she left, she burst into tears, and then that just set me off. I just couldn't cope. Obviously my hormones were, oh God's sake. I'm fine, but like my hormones were all over the place, and just seeing her cry. And he was like, you okay? And I was like, just go. Yeah, so then they like hooked me up to the monitor again, just check baby heartbeat and everything was fine. I then had to have some dinner, so I had a plain jacket potato, and when I say plain, I mean plain. There was no butter, there was no salt, there was no pepper. I couldn't cut it because I had my fucking cannula in the corner of my arm. I could barely move it because of how long like the pipe was up my vein. So I was basically eating my jacket potato like a bit of toast. I had no internet. So I was just sat in the corner, like in my room on my own in silence, just eating a jacket potato. It was a bit of a low point. and then I was tired, so I made some phone calls, called my auntie, called Ellie, spoke to Neil, like just to keep myself busy, got myself ready for bed, and then they did the midwife swap again, and she's like, I'm going to come and do your obs at about 10 o'clock. This was at 6, so I had 4 hourly obs. I'm going to come and do it at 10 o'clock. Your ketones are still down at 2, so like keep going, like you're doing really well. So I've got a snaggy nail. Keep checking the time because I've got to go to the midwife, so I'm going to have to probably cut this off in a minute and then come back. So I'm going to come back at 10. I was like, right, okay. So I tried to stay awake until 10 o'clock. Got to like 10 to 10 and I hadn't heard anything. She hadn't popped in. So I was like, right, I'm so tired. I'm going to go to sleep. Because I hadn't had much sleep at all. And I got woken up at 20 past 11 to say that someone was sick and that they needed my room. So I had to pack my bags and be moved into a bay. And that was just a different experience. From going from a bed, like a private bedroom with my own toilet. It wasn't like attached, I had to walk into the hallway and go to my toilet, but to go from having a door to a curtain was completely different experience from the midwife. So I need to try and remember where I left off. Where did I leave off? God, I'm cold. Yes, so they woke me up to move me to a bay, and I was very lucky to experience having a room. Obviously the circumstance isn't great, being contagious and vomiting, but being on a bay with 5 other women, plus like partners, I just felt, because I was so tired and frustrated, I just felt like there was no respect there from the other women on the bay. So there was someone opposite me, so they put me on the end, but where I was where, like, if you push your orange button to like call for the midwife, that was outside of my room. The telephone was outside of where I was. I was right near where the midwives sit and talk about paperwork and things like that. And so even though it was like 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, it was still quite busy. Like people had their lights on and stuff, and then yeah, it was just a lot. So the people opposite me, they were like having a full-blown conversation, and the partner was there. You had some lady went into labour, so she was on a birthing ball, so on like the hospital floor with the friction rubbing from a ball of the lady jumping or bouncing up and down on that. Someone was hooked up to, are they the CTG machines, the things with the bands? Someone was hooked up to that, and then the person next to me was snoring. So it's just like, I've just been woken up and I'm now here and I just want to go home. So I didn't sleep very well that night, to say the least. I reckon I probably got maybe 2 hours tops, because obviously I was still getting up, going for wheeze, measuring it, putting it in a jug, blah blah blah. Woke up at about, I want to say it was like 6, and the midwife said, like, your ketones are down to 1, like you don't need to keep measuring your wee anymore, we're going to send it off, sort of thing, but like we're happy. Breakfast came round, had that, and then the doctors came over. I had a lady consultant come over and say, like, your ketones are down to 1, so we're happy to discharge you. And I was like, great, like, I'm going to be home before lunch. But when it was 8 o'clock in the morning, I was like, okay, like, cool, like, I'll let my husband know. So I called Neil and I was like, they're discharging me, don't come yet. Like, I don't think it will be until about lunchtime, but I'll let you know. That was not a fun experience. The thing that really got on my nerves, being on a bay, was when the girls' partners would come in and they'd fall asleep on the chair next to the women that are there for a reason, and they'd just fall asleep and snore. It just went I had no patience or tolerance. Obviously I didn't do anything or kick off or anything, but I was going out of my mind. Even though they said that they would discharge me, they wouldn't take my cannula out. I couldn't charge my phone because you need a special like charging socket to go into like their sockets, obviously pack testing and risk of fire and all of that, which is completely fine and understandable. I didn't know that at the time, and it's a £10 deposit that you get back, but I didn't have £10 cash, so I couldn't charge my phone, so I had 1% on my phone, so I couldn't use it. I had P's iPad, but the Wi-Fi didn't work, so I couldn't watch anything, and I was just sat there going insane. I had my Kindle, but because I was so tired, I was reading, but I wasn't really taking in what I was reading. So I ended up like just drifting in and out of sleep, had my lunch, went on the CTG again to measure the baby, like heartbeat and stuff, make sure everything was okay. Then Neil came up at 2, and I remember I was asleep. He was like, you're not ready to go yet? And I was like, no, like they're busy doing everything else. So he had left work, and we had an appointment. Someone drove up from London to be here to sort out our gas, and we completely forgot about it. And he was like, oh, I've got to go back home. So then he was literally there for 5 minutes and then he left. I had literally just woken up, had no clue what was going on. So the day went like that pretty much. It wasn't a fun day. Still had quite a delicate stomach because obviously I hadn't been eating, or like it's just rank, isn't it? And I didn't get discharged till 5 o'clock, so I'd sat there all day just waiting for like the go ahead, and it was really horrible. Obviously everything was fine, but it just took a really long time and I wasn't anticipating it. Came home, had a small bite to eat. I think I had a bath. Yeah, I had a bath, and then I went to bed, and it was so nice to be in my own bed with covers as opposed to like a flat sheet and a cellular blanket, and not to have like beeping noises or have to like wee into a jug and have someone being like, I'm gonna take your blood pressure at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Just gonna check your pulse. So I'm alive, I'm fine. So it was really nice, and I slept solidly Monday night from like 9 till 7, half 7, and I really needed that. And then I woke up Tuesday morning and I just felt really overwhelmed. So this was yesterday, and I woke up feeling really overwhelmed, and I just woke up like just crying because Neil was getting ready for work, and like he'd done everything. Like this is, I cannot fault what Neil has done for us. Like he has well and truly like stepped into my role. Like he's done all the washing, he's done all the hoovering, like he's done everything, and going to work and sorting out pee and stuff. But then it got to Tuesday, and I don't think we'd thought the next day, like it was so caught up of like, got to get childcare sorted because Jess is in hospital, blah 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 blah. And then it was like, then I was home, and then it was like, right, back to normal. But I felt so shit because I'd been wiped out for a couple of days. I'd barely had an appetite. I'd obviously been pumped with whatever I'd had, and it had just been a lot. And I remember waking up yesterday and Neil was getting ready. He was like, right, okay, I'm gonna go for work. Like, P's fine, she's had her breakfast, and like she knows to be a good girl sort of thing. And I was like, right, okay, like I've got to jump straight back into like being me and being normal and stuff. And I just got so overwhelmed, my hormones were all over the place, and I just burst into tears. And I was like, I just don't know how I'm gonna do it. Which, looking back on it, like, it's fine, it is what it is. Like, it was just a lot to take after waking up and stuff. I don't know what I expected. So I had a bit of a low morning yesterday. P then went to school 12:15 till 3, so I had a little bit of time in the afternoon just to properly veg out and not feel bad. And this is the thing that I've suffered with the whole time, is like the mum guilt. So I had that. Went to go and pick P up, and then the teacher was like, are you okay, sort of thing. And you know, like when you are okay, but then someone asks if you're okay, and then you think about it and you're not. I just cried. Cried in front of her teachers. And was like, it's just really hard to like just jump back into it, sort of thing. So luckily today my mum has been able to look after P for me. So she came and picked her up at about 10, and she's going to have her for the night again tonight, and then bring her back home for me tomorrow. And this is the thing, I was like messaging my friends and I was like, either way I feel shit, like either way I can't win. I have P here with me and try and do things like normal, but I'm struggling because I need time to rest. But then I feel bad if I send her away, because I feel like I'm like, I can't deal with that right now. So either way, like I can't win. And I spoke to P this morning and I was like, do you want to go to Granny's house? Like, are you sure you want to go? She was like, yeah, I really want to go to Granny's house. So she was happy to go, because it's fun, it's different, it's exciting for her. I just feel bad. I feel bad for my mum. She's not got the best of health herself, and obviously she's helping me out as and where she can, and I just feel, I don't like feeling like a burden, and I feel like the past couple of days I have been a burden to everyone else, like my mother-in-law Neil and P and my mum and everyone. Like I just feel like I'm an inconvenience, and I don't like that. I don't like depending on other people, and I know I need to, because it's not just for me, it's for the baby. It's just hard when that's not me and that's not my nature. That's what I've really been struggling with. But I woke up today feeling better. Last night, what did I have? So yesterday, after I picked P up from school, just sort of chilled out and stuff, did dinner. I had boiled pasta, and then today was the first day where I've had something with flavour. So I had toast with Marmite, and I've had a cup of tea, and that's the first time I've had tea in God knows how long. So I feel like I'm getting there. I still feel gassy, and just fragile, but I'm hoping after like a proper day of rest today I will be like back to normal. It doesn't help the fact that Neil's on call this week, so like last night he didn't get home till 8:30, so it's not knowing when he's going to be home. Obviously it doesn't matter tonight because I don't have P, but it's just like another contributing factor. And then the other thing is that I think P is about to come down with chicken pox. Of course she is, of course. Pox has been going around her school, and I think she's got all the pre-pox symptoms before the spots. So I've told my mum that. She's finding herself, she's perky and stuff, and it could just be a cold, so we will see, but I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the week if she comes out in spots. Rue's fast asleep, having a little snoring sesh. So the midwife today, I am 33 plus 6, so I'll be 34 tomorrow. Wasn't my normal midwife, never seen this lady before, but she was nice enough. Found it weird that they didn't know that I'd been in hospital. She was like, oh, like, how are you? And I was like, tired, I've been in hospital for like 3 days. She's like, oh, really? Blood pressure 95/60, which is fine. Don't have ketones in my wee, which is a good thing. I've got, is it leukocytes? I can't read her handwriting, but it basically says about the water that I was on and dehydration, blah, blah, blah. So she said, obviously, if I've got any issues, to call back Delivery Suite and just let them know. So that is my update. I have got a midwife appointment in 2 weeks time, so I'll be 35 plus 6, so that'll be for my 36-week midwife appointment. I don't think I've got anything in between then. I've got my physio, I think it's like the 21st of Feb. Got sent a new tuber grip for the next size up because obviously I'm getting bigger. What else do I have to report other than like what's been going on? Pre all of this, suffering with like my groin pain. Definitely forgot to mention that today to the midwife, but there isn't really anything that they can do. What else? I don't think there is anything else to report. I've been absolutely fine other than this random bug that I got. I've been fine within myself. Yeah, I think so. Right, sun's just gone in. I'm gonna go. I need to try and do a food shop. I'm gonna go to Tesco's, I think. I can't be dealing with Aldi. Yeah, no, I'm gonna do scan as you shop. Get some food because we've got no food and Neil hasn't had the chance to go food shopping because obviously he's been busy working and stuff. So I'm gonna head to Tesco's, get some food and then come home, maybe have a little snooze and then just get back on track. So hopefully my next video, I don't know if this is going to end now or if I'm going to do another update after this, but I hope that my next one, regardless of what the format will be a little bit more positive. This came from completely out of the blue and I cannot, like, I look back and it's like, don't get me wrong, I haven't been through anything like really traumatic, like reduced movements, or I don't even want to think about like bad stuff. I haven't been through that at all, but it's still like traumatic for me anyway. So I may as well quickly do a bump shot as well whilst we're here because you never know when it'll be your last. So let's move you over here. Oh, I packed my bag. My bag's down here. I need to do that video at some point as well. Let's bring you forward. Oh, let's do this. There you go. So there is my bump at, I'll be 34 weeks tomorrow. So it's still quite high. Ugh. Can't really see. And then you can see that my stretch marks are starting to go up here. So you've got like my old ones and then you've got my new ones and stuff. You see that? Yeah. My tummy button is also like well and truly like popped out and it makes me feel sick. But other than that, all is fine. I'm gonna go. I hope you have enjoyed this update. I haven't. But I will see you all when I'm looking a bit fresher in my next one. Bye.